Hello?
Yes, sir. How you doing, Scar?
Hey, hey. Okay, turn this down. Right. How you doing?
Doing fantastic. How are you?
Amazing. Yeah, we got a little bit of a time mix-up, but made it work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Fortunately.
yeah. So it's specifically just like full-blown getting your Kanna to being able to kill
Right.
in
Or
Arkanna,
whatever
basically, right?
direction, right? Whatever direction I need to go in
Mm-hmm.
to at least get the knowledge down, right? Because I also heard several different people communicate and say that I may not be able to do that right away, which is totally cool too. I may be doing a bunch of damage, but not one-shotting instantly, and for a long time, which is okay. But just me
Yeah.
trying to figure out a concrete answer.
Yeah. So it's two things. It's a lot of your damage. So there's a few things. So if you want to be able to kill quickly and get like good rates, you're gonna have to kill a lot of monsters, yada yada yada. In order to do
Mm-hmm.
that, you can have like really good gear. But if you focus primarily on getting your gear to be the source of damage that helps you one shot, you'll be over investing in your character. And since the whole point of the character is to, do minimal amount of investment so that it can make money for your other characters, that would go like directly against the purpose of the class itself, right?
Right.
Now there is also the thing with possible map changes coming, and maybe moving up into higher level maps will eventually happen. So that maybe having some more range won't necessarily be horrible. But typically, what that would mean is that the people who want to get those best ranges, they just move away from Arkanna into there, and then Arkanna would free up for you. So
Got
it
it.
doesn't necessarily mean that you would want to venture into that area.
Got it.
I've heard like
Okay.
a bunch of different numbers, but from everything I've heard from everyone, typically the people who are like either one-shotting, and by one-shotting, typically people don't mean that every single one of your instances of damage kills a monster in one hit. It just means that you are realistically close to being able to kill all the monsters in a single spawn before they respawn again. So you can optimize rates per hour, basically.
Got it. Okay. Okay.
So from what I heard, typically people are anywhere from like 14 to 18k stat. And most of that depends on how high their arcane power is, if they reach the threshold, and if their boost nodes are high enough leveled.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
so I think I'm getting a TV in the background. Is that possible?
It's true. Actually, that's very valid. Did you mean to? Sorry, that's my brother. But did you need to push to talk at all?
Well, I don't know if it's going to get picked up enough by like YouTube or something.
Right. 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 My bad.
I'm not sure if it's imagine getting like copy strike because fucking House season 3 or something is playing in the background. That'd be
Got it.
unfortunate.
I see what you mean. That's valid.
Okay.
Just let me know if you pull some more curiosity or
Yeah,
anxious. I'll
for sure.
push to talk it up, and it should be easier.
Yep. So yeah, so you don't want to go too much higher than that stat, because otherwise you're basically just cutting into the money that you'll be making with the character anyway. Is it generally a pretty new character still?
It's not new. It's actually very old. I made this Arcana like sometime last year, so it's very old, and it wasn't the first character, but somewhere around like the later number of characters that I've made and recommitted to on several different occasions, and this was the one that I just so happened to just say, you know what, meso farming has been changed on several different occasions, and I guess I got tired of it and just mained Arcana instead.
Okay.
But recognize that I actually don't want to main Arcana. I just simply want to have an Arcana so that way I can not, have to worry about that, meso chain or that meso game fluctuation that kind of goes on that, during the lower levels, and mysterious path being removed, and all those
Yeah,
kinds of things.
there's constantly stuff changing, right? But things change with Kana as well. But the last change with Kishin seems to not affect Kana as much as they probably intended it to. But yeah, you are always kind of like teetering on the side of like what is the max possible. So if anything gets nerfed, you're always like first on the chopping block. Basically, that comes with the territory of trying to be something that's optimal, right?
Right.
But until then, you can still take advantage of whatever boons it provides. But yeah, because I see you have some of the superior, some of the Gollux rings. I mean, So that probably was
Right.
achieved during the easier times when that was actually achievable.
Yep. Yep. Because that's when
Uh,
I just kept it consistent, got on daily, did what I need to do. Found very little after
mhm,
my dailies, but um, I got to a point where I guess you could say I burned out because I just didn't know what direction I wanted to go in,
mhm.
but also didn't have the right resources.
Okay, and you have like a specific class you want to main now that you have an eye
Yes.
on?
So I can't remember the name of the class, but it has like the fireballs and stuff with like the extra range and all that kind of fun.
Oh, the
Fire
Blaze Wizard?
mage. Yeah. That's the class that is currently at 200, but it's the one that I want to push, but haven't been able to because I just don't have the potentials and the strength to
Mm-hmm.
pursue it.
Yeah, so one of the things that will be, um, I guess, kind of the big cost of going this route is that, so if you're not over investing in the gear, but then you're gonna have to definitely invest a lot into the node stones.
Hmm.
And then that means that a lot of the nodes are just gonna first have to like all seep into your Kanna to be able to make sure that your Kanna can kill fast, and then the nodes are gonna like trickle down into your Blaze Wizard and so on. So the only income you're gonna have is when it comes to nodes is like if you get a few that drop during your daily,
Hmm.
the 3 extra from the Vanishing Journey weekly, right?
Right.
And then like event stores, and that's pretty much gonna be your only income from nodes until your con is like saturated and they can start trickling down. But if of
Right.
course like once they start doing that, they should start doing that at a way higher rate than what you could ever be making with the Blaze Wizard straight up. So that should be the goal
Hmm.
there.
Roger that.
So in general, what you would aim for with the Arkanna is you don't have to get Abzo. If you have access to it, though, that would make stuff easier because
Okay.
the gear is just a bunch stronger, the base stats and everything.
Right.
But yeah, not necessary. But I don't know if what your situation is with guild and stuff.
Oh, I'm actually pretty bland, if you will. It's been like an off and on Maple Story situation. I kind of doing it solo, and
Mm-hmm.
if I see myself consistently playing, then I'm like, oh yeah, I should join a guild, and I'll just find something random and try to participate and see what they offer. Some guilds will uh, spend their time helping other people catch up and do dailies with them on like
Mm-hmm.
higher tiers so they can get good drops.
Yep.
Um, and I'll try to tag along with those, but I, have those 1 or 2 week full blown play sessions, and then I drop the game here and there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of guilds will look at like contribution over the last period of time, something like that, to see if
Hmm.
you can like earn carries or participate in runs or something like that.
Right.
And yeah, if you're kind of on and off playing, that might be for most guilds that's like a bad fit, I guess, because guild want
Right.
people to always be in there, be active, not play 12 hours a day, but at least play like a little bit every day or play regularly. And if you're more off and on, that tends to be a bad mix.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you don't have direct access to that, I'm pretty sure we can do all of that stuff without without Abzo. But you're basically just aiming for 17 star, like pretty much everything that you can get 17 stars on.
Right. Okay.
For all of the eye and face, so all the accessories that can get Mesoptane and drop rate, right?
Yes, earrings, eye, face, both necklaces, all the rings.
Yep. Hmm.
And yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So you can get up to 100% Mesoptane from your equips. So you would
Hmm.
aim for 5 lines of Mesoptane, and then since there's 9 equips, that would leave you at least 4 extra accessories that don't have a line on there. So
Hmm.
you don't have a 100% chance to get a bag of money to drop from a monster if you just kill it. You do need extra
Hmm.
drop rate for that. So typically it's either 3 lines of drop rate and then decent holy symbol, or 4 lines of drop rate, or if you get a drop rate familiar and then decent
Hmm.
holy symbol, that could be enough. And then you could get a few of the accessories more dedicated purely towards intellect for more damage.
Okay.
It would kind of depend there what you're doing with familiars as well. What I've heard some people do, but I think you at 212 you won't make as much money anymore. But what you could do is also farm at Forsaken Excavation site for a while, because you can get a lot of familiars there.
Hmm.
And then do that until you get something that has increased drop rate for items or meso or the combination by a large amount for your familiars, so that you can use that as a backup as like a placeholder for the drop rate, and then maybe when you hit that, you don't have to cube for drop rate on your equips, but you can just cube straight up for damage, because in the beginning you won't have those nodestone levels, you won't have the arcane power yet, so you will need to get some damage from other sources there.
Right. Absolutely.
And then once you hit the kill speed with those two things, then you can re-roll them for drop rate so that you can get even more nodestones. And then at that point, you'll be able to make like the generating machine that you need to get your Blaze Wizard and any other character after that to max out skills faster.
Exactly. The foundation is the aim, because I mean, if I can't get the foundation, I really can't increase like my legions, like essential coins and things of that nature that could push me toward potentially other things that are important.
Yep. You need to build up the backups.
Scavenging.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that does mean just legendarying the weapon secondary and emblem. Those are like the most important ones, right? Those are the chunk of your damage, and then all the accessories, and then basically everything else. Looking for whatever would become your set that would make sense. And then look at like what the final goals are there. So, do you know which fans are you using right now for weapon and secondary?
Yes, the current fan that I'm using is the CRA fan and the Golden Blossom emblem.
Okay, so you're using 2 Fafnir fans?
Yes. Oh, sorry. I'm using 1 Fafnir fan and the Sweetwater fan for Haku.
Oh, for Sweetwater for Haku. Okay. All right.
Because I think it was what was it? It was an event for leveling to 200. You got a temporary CRA set, and then if you hit a certain point afterwards, you would receive a permanent one.
Yep.
But only one.
For the Terra Burn, yeah.
Yep. And then, fortunately enough, there was Miracle Time right after that, and the timer on my temporary CRA fan died. So I used the double Miracle Time to legendary my Sweetwater fan to replace CRA fan for Haku.
Yep. Okay. Do you know exactly how the potential and the damage and everything works on the secondary fan? Because it's a bit different than typical secondaries.
Right. It's very slight, but I think only magic attack and maybe some other statistics for Haku work, but everything else is kind of negated. I think, long story short, is what I had understood from several different videos. So I think that's all I got. Yeah.
Yeah. So magic attack and intellect percentage are the only stats that work on your potential. And then when you summon Haku, he also gives you a magic attack buff, and that buff is a percentage of your total magic attack of your fan. So the more magic attack you have in total on your fan, like a portion of that gets translated to you. So if you Star Force it, if you can give it like a flame with some magic attack, that will a portion of that will definitely translate as well. So, but the main thing is, because IED and boss damage, in your case, it doesn't really matter because you're going for full magic attack anyway.
Right.
But only the magic attack really will transfer over from the Haku fan. So you will want to just go super hard on magic attack there. So at least hitting 2 lines with like a 13 and 10 will be very important to get to the point where you can kill quickly with the Kanna.
Right.
And then the one you are using is legendary 12-star. Do you know the potential on your current weapon?
Yes, it is legendary as well. With it has bad lines, but it's 12% hit, 9% damage, and 9% crit. Yeah, I've just been trying to run our assist daily to at least get a set of cubes to try to change those lines and aim for magic attack percent.
Yeah. Yeah, so the fan and the Haku fan together, getting at least 2 lines of magic attack on both of those. So in order to do that, right, you need money. So where do you get the money? You get Ursus Maple Tour maybe, and also just from training and for leveling your character, right, with having Meso Obtain. So do you also already have Meso Obtain lines? Because was this an old farmer?
Yes, this is an old farmer. As I was listening to, I think you were talking about, I had been in your stream several days ago, and I was asking questions about Arkanna, and you said you had done an Arkanna like last week or a week ago, something like that. But there was one key thing that like rang in my ear, and that was to repotential any of your accessories that you could, if you had Meso 2, to try to aim for Meso Obtain. And if you got anything that was double lined of Meso or IED or in the mix of the two, you kind of wanted to aim for like 100% and 80%, is like how you explained earlier.
Yep.
And so I was able to, with the Meso that I had, get 80% so far.
Okay. 80%
is
meso obtain, so 4
yes,
lines, and then
yes, sir.
and you have any drop rate as well?
None.
No,
The only
okay.
thing I got is the familiars in yeah, just the spider familiar.
Oh, you have the old spider. You have that one already?
Yep.
Okay, that's
Yeah, I
cool.
have the super old spider.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to make sure I prioritize that on any new character that I made
Yep,
to get the 3 stacks of it.
that's good. Yeah. And do you know how familiars work now with uptime and everything?
Absolutely not. I know that it's like a daily refresh of the gauge, but
Mm-hmm.
and also to you can like I think I asked someone in the chat and they were very informative, but they said that you can scrap familiars too to get like a currency that you can spend on giving 50% of that gauge back
Yep.
or other things. But I
Yeah.
was
If you
just
check
trying to figure out how to
if you check
manage that.
the familiar here, you have a shop. So if you extract your familiars, you will get these points here, which I don't even know. Familiar points is what they're called apparently.
Hmm.
And then the familiar essence is what they talked about. So it costs you 300 points, and that could give you a 50% reset. So
Okay.
the main thing with this is that the gauge will deplete more slowly if the characters you have out have more defense, and they get more defense by leveling, and they level by killing
Interesting.
monsters near your level. So if you
Right.
unlock more slots, I wouldn't say go for the 3. Go for the unlocking all 3 slots, because then you need to get 10 badges, which is quite a lot of work.
Hmm.
But if you get 1 extra badge, then you can get the second slot already, and I would say that's 100% worth.
Right. Yep.
And then get 2 familiars. So if you have the spider, whichever second one you have doesn't really matter, right? As long as it's just a familiar.
Right. Yeah.
And then
I just filled
kill.
it with the leprechaun is I think that's the name of the familiar, the leprechaun familiar.
Oh, you have that one from back in the day? Yeah.
Yep, I stacked that one up. It took me like 8 hours to get 3 stacks. Took forever. Oh god.
Yeah. Well, not as bad as the old Eye of Time, right?
Yes. Oh my god. I tried that one. I just said, you know what? Whatever gives me the car first, I'll just focus that one.
And it was definitely Leprechaun out of those two.
Yep.
Made
Oh
sense.
yeah.
So wait, do you have 2 slots available or one?
Yes, I do have I currently have them filled with the big spider and the leprechaun
Okay,
as
cool.
we speak.
So and can you check what level they are? Are they level 1 or are they level 5?
5 on both.
Okay, so they have a lot of defense, right? They have like, well, not that much, like 6
Hmm.
or 7 or something.
Yep. 6 defense on leprechaun, 7 on spider.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Yeah. Because the spider somehow started with 2. I have that as well with like old familiars. Not sure. So then you basically have the most defense you can have, and then the summon gauge will deplete the slowest. But I think
I
it'll
see.
still deplete in about a 2-hour session. I think.
Right. It was very short. When
Yeah.
I was regularly level farming, I noticed that my familiar gauge was literally 0. I was like,
Yep.
okay, well, I got to get used to this.
Yeah. Yeah. So to play around that would be to get familiar essence. One way to do that would be to farm like for a while for familiars in
The excavation site, you said?
yeah, in Forsaken Excavation Site, for example. So there's upside and downside, right? So if you already have familiars kind of that you want here, it would be a valuable thing to also be able to move the familiars to another character that would need it, maybe a drop rate familiar to the Blaze Wizard. But then
Right.
the downside is, I guess, that for that you would have not get the familiar essence on the Kanna. So you'd have to
Hmm.
find like a sweet spot to like, well, do I want to save up a bunch of familiar essence so that in case I want to go hard and train long for a day, that I can just keep using the familiar essences and just keep training. I
Hmm.
gotta like try to find a spot, right, where that
I see
makes
what
sense
you
for you,
mean.
where you're not spending like 8 hours a week just trying to get familiars, because then all of that goes at the expense of actually doing something that gives you gains, because you can't farm at Forsaken Excavation Site anymore because you're over leveled there.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, that's the option with the essence.
Yeah, because I've been trying to. I do want to do that route as well. I do want to sit and farm and sort of frag it out because I'm noticing that double XP is just kind of like ancient at this point. So it's gonna be grueling. But as long as I have the familiars and things, at least get me the bags to kind of have that
Yep.
bank account kind of route, like piling up. I'll at least have a smile on my face to have that kind of I can save for an event or something like double miracle or something like that important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, you 2x, you mean like events, right? When you have weekends with
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, because
Yep.
those would be very fortunate with the coupons that we always get for coming back and logging in the game. So I
Yep.
thought it would be like a 2-for-1 situation.
If you haven't played in a while, there's also double experience coupons now available from the dojo shop.
Oh no, that's new.
So those are that's like relatively new. So that might be something that you aren't familiar with. So if you do dojo runs every week and then try to go as far as possible, the ranking system did also change though. So you have to land within the top 70% of all the people in your class who do dojo.
Okay.
And then you get points based on how far you got on Monday. And then with those points, you could now also buy experience coupons in the dojo shop.
Got it. We'll work on that too.
Yep.
Include that in dailies.
A little extra. The other thing, since we're also talking about Mesoptane and drop rate and stuff, is your innerability on your Kanna. What do you have on that right now?
Currently, it is also legendary, but the I was only able to get 3% Mesoptane on the second line, but the primary line, the first one, is 30 plus 30 magic attack, which was something, you know.
It's something, yeah.
But I know that eventually would need to get changed to Mesoptane if I can pull that from using the miracle circulars.
Yes, yeah, exactly, yeah. I mean, a line of drop rate wouldn't be the end of the world either, of course, right? Because you just get more nodes and you get stronger. Getting stronger kills monsters faster. That also makes you money indirectly, so it's not, that wouldn't be horrible. But yeah, Mesoptane would be it would be nice, of course, the go-to. But yeah, that's a project that can cost a bit with circulators. We haven't had a circulator sale in forever though, so I wouldn't really hold my breath for those and be more like, okay, like the Meso gear is done, and maybe then get the innerability after that. And then right after that, probably try to min-max the potential on your weapon and your secondary. It would be right after that. Is probably the order I would put everything in.
Right, because I'm with the L's. I'm in a very fortunate, like situation at the moment because all I have to do is reroll.
Yep,
the
exactly.
odds of that on weapons for magic attack is grueling sometimes when you roll % attack.
It can be bad. Yep.
Yeah. Just want to toss your mouse out the window, Yeah.
I've trashed at least one mouse with frustrations like that, just like smashed it to pieces. I just kept punching it. It's like, oh my god, the frustration.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I get it. I watch those videos and I'm always clenching. Always. That stuff is super important when you understand what's going on,
I think I hit 30% magic attack on my emblem twice before I saw my 30 attack on my arc. It was very frustrating.
Oh no.
And for the people watching too, is like they want that one, but I don't want it, so I just roll over it, and it's just so painful.
You're in.
It's bad for everyone involved.
Create like a whole like a hate tribe going on in the chat. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. Why'd you do that? Just get another blank weapon and do from scratch. That's that.
Well, if it's an emblem, you have no choice, right? There's no backups.
Yes, absolutely. And that's
actually you have a backup, right? It's because if you have a Terra burn.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Because it was last Terra burn, right? Not the one before that. It was the one with the extra unique emblem.
Yes. Yep.
So you actually, as one of the only classes, I have a Kanna as well that has that. You have the option of going for like an IED emblem and a full magic attack emblem for like farming and mobbing. It's pretty interesting.
Oh, you can get IED on emblems?
Yes.
Oh.
Which for Kanna is very important because Kanna is very starving for IED, and you cannot get any IED from your potential on your secondary, right? So the only way that you can really redeem that is with a line on your emblem.
Got it. Got it. Right now it's in a pretty good situation.
Yeah. For your situation now, it's perfect. Yeah, that's why I didn't mention it yet, right? With the WSE, that's like your weapon secondary emblem. That's your solid foundation of where everything else kind of lands on. But since you have that one already, I just kind of skipped that one for now. And you want to work on accessories, maybe innerability, get all your Mesoptane sorted out, and then work on your fan and your secondary fan. So one thing that you could get some gains from is like flaming your Haku fan, right? Because some of it gets transferred, but since it doesn't have flame advantage, that's a pretty low priority.
Yes.
What's your flame on your current weapon fan? Because that would be like the next big upgrade that you can do.
The current flame on it is I'm not sure what tier it is or how I can determine that, but it has 12% boss damage additional, 36 magic attack additional, 31 regular attack, and 6% damage. And that's all I was able to pull. I mean, it has IED on it as well. I think most of the area weapons do, but
it's got the regular 10%, right?
Yeah. And it's just 12-star. So I think it's better than what I've seen for me, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So since you're trying to have this as purely a mobbing weapon, the boss damage doesn't really help you. The percentage damage does something for sure.
Yep. For overall numbers.
So if you want to check what the flame and the tier that it is, I have a link to a flame guide, but we also have a calculator link that somebody made. So if you go to ! flames, you check in the calculator. Yeah. What's the base attack on your weapon?
It is 204 base.
Okay, so 36 is tier 4. You can see that immediately here. So what we'll probably aim for is a tier 6, which would be 66 magic attack. That would be the goal.
Got it. Okay.
So after... Yeah, so after the accessories, inner-ability, fixing the weapon, fixing the secondary, then flaming the weapon is going to be the next one after that.
Okay. And then there's like side grade things, right? Should I, at some point, you know, in terms of more damage and stuff, should I at some point try to get 3 accessories for Superior and Gullux?
So that is, have you read up on the changes with Gullux?
No, have not, no.
Because short answer is no. Long answer is Gullux has just gotten way harder, and everything is now for sale in the shop. But the items that drop have changed, and they've gotten way more expensive. So the superior equips cost 700 coins now. Which is like more than like 3 weeks of running every single day and clearing. And Helix himself has gotten 10 times or 11 times the HP or something. And his hitboxes for his skills are a little bugged as well, so you can't really afford any mistakes, and there's only 1 run per day, so if you mess that one up, it's nothing for the day.
Yeah, because it used to be, I think was it 1 clear? It was always 1 clear? I thought
it was always 1 clear, but it was always up to 6 entries, so you had a lot of room for mistakes, and for practice. Right. And you could even farm the coins from the pieces and everything, but that's all,
Yep, because that's all I would do. I would just get the shoulders, the stomach, and then I would just like dip.
And only hard and hell drop the coins that you can actually buy like the good gear with, and then the actual coins, and normal and easy drop the pennies. So you can't even like slowly edge your way there by killing normal or something. You have to kill at least hard, and hard is I have readjusted them in the leveling. In the dailies guide, if you check the dailies guide, it also has the dailies per level, like what level I advise doing which bosses with which difficulty. And I've added the levels there as well and pushed those forwards. I think Hardlux is probably at around like 220, like 215, 220 around there. And then Hellux is like later at like 230, 235 basically.
Jeez,
and even then, there's like with my hero today, I got fucked because I had memory leak, so I couldn't see him half the time when I died. And my hero's like pretty decked out and is almost 240, so it's not even just like walking in and killing him. Like there's still chance for a failure.
Right, that's so random.
Well, if you look at how good the set bonus is, it kind of makes sense if they wanted to bring it in line with the other set bonuses that exist in the game. It is really just that good. So they had to make it harder for it to kind of make sense with the other sets, but it is a huge, it is a far cry for what it used to be. It's nowhere near as easy anymore. So that's why I'll mostly just go off of the basis of what you have now and try to see if we can power it up a little bit with set bonuses. But use like the stronger equips you have there as a basis. One thing that is, do you have any for rings? Do you have any event rings?
I do not. That was I've always missed them, I guess. And
that's the downside of like playing for a while, not playing for a while, and you can just completely miss out on some events.
Exactly.
Because event rings are basically like very, very good placeholders specifically for Kanna, because they give a bunch of HP and MP as well. And with your Kanna scaling, that's always nice. And on top of that, they just come with a lot of magic attacks, so it basically saves you all the money of having to upgrade and Star Force them.
Yeah.
And they kind of come, they kind of have the equivalent of 16 to 17 star rings, just flat out how you get them. So
I see. Okay.
But yeah, I guess we'll have to play around that. Okay, so we have those ready. Since it's an older character, do you have something like a Tyrant Cape?
I don't know. I have the Wings of Fate, but also like L potential with 27% hit.
Okay.
And 11 star.
That's fine then. We'll keep that. Okay, so accessory, you have Silver Blossom and then Solid Reinforced Superior. So you have 4 set reinforced.
Yep.
Okay.
From
Legendary
the double
belt.
necklaces. Yep.
So the main thing you'll aim for, the ones that you have Mesoptane on now, does it have Mesoptane and also a line of intellect, or did you aim for just Mesoptane first?
Some of them have, I think one has 6% all stat, another has int. Yep. Let's see, the other one has int as well. Yep. So the ones I was able to roll Mesotane also have like either all stats or int, which
Okay,
is
that's good. Yeah.
convenient.
Yeah, that's really good, right? Because once you have 9, if you end up with 9 accessories that all go for either drop rate or meso, but they all have line of int as well, that means you're getting 81% or a little bit lower if you have 6% all set lines. But you have like 75 to 80% intellect like on top of that, which is of course a huge chunk, right?
Yes.
So it's all the little bits help there together.
Right. Okay.
So you have CRA. 2 out of 3 are unique and 1 is epic. So the thing with CRA is that you pretty much want to keep them unique for a while because it's way easier to roll 2 lines of intellect and maybe even 3, which would keep them at like. So let's say you're aiming for 21% on legendary. Pound for pound, it's cheaper and almost and easier on most of them. Maybe not on the pants, but definitely on the hat and the top to roll the 21% on unique than on legendary, because legendary adds a lot of lines that are just not necessary, that are just junk lines that are just there to make it more expensive for you.
Yes,
and on top of that, you have to spend the money on getting to legendary. So if you invest that money instead in just more rolls and Master Craftsman cubes, it's actually like almost safer to get it at unique.
Got it. And we're talking about the armors for CRA specifically, right?
Yeah, armor for CRA specifically, yeah.
Gotcha. Fortunately, actually, I got like a lot of good rolls. Otherwise, I would have just pushed L. But I got like 12% in on the pants. Top has 12% in as well. But the hat, however, does only have just 6% in. It's only epic line, which I can push to unique with cubes, of course, Master Craftsman cubes.
Yeah.
But they have like good rolls, I think. Like all stat percents on the base with the flames, and then like int as the primary stat on each one of them. I think I was watching a video at some point, and I guess lost the knowledge now, but prior to was investing into flames, and just sort of constantly re-rolling and aiming for a specific stat in that.
Yeah, so I would let the flaming be like one of the final things you do, because flamings don't have like sale events, but star forcing and cubing sometimes do. So it makes more sense to like save up money for those events so you can, strike it rich hopefully and get like a big jump in gains whenever one of those events hits. And then flaming is kind of like something you do to like min max at the end to make sure that you hit those targets that you do to get more value out of everything else that's already in place.
Roger.
And
Miss
flames in
Houston,
general
though, was,
are more
I think he
transferable.
discounted his shop, right? Or something. He was, I think he was in Leaf Free, and he bought flames, but his prices were discounted, and I thought it was like
there's a very minor guild discount if you. There's like a guild skill. I think I don't know if we still have it now. Yeah, there's like 4%, 4% discount from shops if you have the guild skill. It's very minor, but there is a line through it. Yeah, it looks like there's some kind of event, but it's a very, very minor. It does add up over over a large amount, but yeah, it's a pretty small thing. Yeah, it's 4%, so it's not that huge.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, so set bonus wise, so you're 4 set reinforced. 1 superior, right?
One superior, yep.
Full CRA. And then boss is 1, 2, 3...
7? Yeah, 7. Yep. From the pocket and the other things, the shoulder and all that kind of stuff. I'm at 7.
1, 2, 3, 4... Hang on, how are you at 7? You have the badge?
So the Ventus badge, the eye and face, the earrings, shoulder, pocket, and silver blossom.
Oh, you have the earring. Oh yeah, I overlooked the earring. Okay, you're doing ring, double necklace, belt. Yeah, okay. Do you have any old Gollux coins from back in the day?
I believe I do. Let's see. Not a lot. Like 7 right now, but
7. Okay, yeah, never mind.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
there's an exchange mechanic where every week you can buy a certain amount of the new coins with the old coins, so you can kind of like transfer if you did bank up before. But if you have like they only go per 10, and you can transfer up to 100 per week. So if
Oh,
you only
that
have
would be
7, then it doesn't do anything. Yeah.
no. I would, yeah.
Okay.
If I had like 100 solid, that would be super convenient.
Yeah, that'd be nice. But okay, so that's not an option. So wait. So what earring are you using right now? The
Um,
Diocidus or whatever.
the Diacitus,
Yeah.
earring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have the what earring did I have? I have the superior earrings. Um, I don't remember buying those, but I apparently have them. But I didn't use them because I didn't have 3 set or 4 set, I should say, because I didn't have 2 necklaces or anything like that, or the
You do
drops
have the
for it.
superior. So that only gives you like a bunch of extra stat when you wear it, right? 20 stat, HP,
Yep.
MP. That is
Mm-hmm.
something.
Mm-hmm.
If you switch it out now, you lose out on damage
4.
because of the potential on the current earrings, or
Yep, the potential on the current earrings, and I don't know if ignore monster defense is super important when just regularly farming. I know boss damage isn't, other than like the field monsters that spawn, but
mm-hmm.
uh, that the only thing I lose really.
Yeah, the old ideal setup for Kanna still exists when you're going 3 and 3.
Hmm.
But that would mean that you either have to get a superior belt drop or you have to buy a pendant,
Got it. Okay.
which, that first one would seem the most reasonable.
Yeah.
Binding is kind of yikes though, but domaining for someone might help them be able to clear Helix. And if they don't need the belt, but they do want the earring and they can share the coins with you or something, that would be an option.
Hmm. Okay.
Finding people for that could happen either through a guild, of course, or through, making buddies online. I do have rooms in my Discord for people who want to do specific bosses together with other people, so you could sign up for those.
Yeah, we'll do. I'll listen to the channel.
Yeah. And, maybe if there's someone who's like looking for people to run, if there's a Kanna that can throw a domain in there, that'll always be useful just to get through Helix faster.
Okay.
That'll be the ideal setup, I guess, but we'll not like count on that. And
Hmm.
since you do already have some legendaries, we want to mainly focus on like how to improve what you already have, so that you can just, move forward and not too much sideways.
Right. Right.
I guess if you want to keep, so the current face and eye, I don't know if it's going to be enough to stick to like the Zakum accessories. If you're not going into Absolab, I feel like you need at least Sweetwater Eye and Face, because you'll be able to Star Force high enough to get up to 17,
Hmm.
and then get a lot of magic attack from that. And because they're level 160, the lines next to the Mezzo and the drop will also be higher.
Okay.
I think it's going to be necessary. I'm pretty sure it's going to be necessary to move into Sweetwater Iron Face, just to have access to that tier and to the plus 15 Star Force power.
Okay. We get into the habit of doing Kmirchi,
Yep.
and trying to just kind of rack up whatever current. I think the currency that's in there.
Yeah, if you safeguard up the Dineros, if you safeguard up, then you only need to buy one of each. And I think they're like 250, I think.
Hmm.
So like a total of 500 Dineros would be enough if you just safeguard the whole way. If you want to save some money on that, so you don't have to safeguard, then you could make some more, but that's up to you.
Roger that.
I guess then the next big thing you're looking for is just a 30% off Star Force event, so you can get everything up to 15.
Yep, that's it. Yep.
It's going to be a big... that's not going to give you any kind of
area.
huge gains, but it is going to be an expense that allows you to get into 15 to 17, and that's going to be the huge gain for you. So the getting up to 15 is just the prep. That's half the cost, but nowhere near half the upgrade. It's maybe like 20% of the upgrade, and then 80% is getting from 15 to 17. And that's going to be as much or maybe even a little bit more expensive than getting up to 15, but that's even if you do it during a 5, 10, 15. But that's where all of the... Yeah, because you're basically going to be gaining like 17 magic attack per equip.
Oh.
So that's like 3, 4, 5,
I
6,
see. That's
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 times or something, like 17 magic attacks. So that's like over 200 magic attack extra.
Gotcha. Because I would always watch like Star Forcing videos, but I wasn't able to figure out where the minimal for like high-end players already have their Arkanna ready and everything. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't figure out where the minimal was for them and what their primary character was, because they would proceed to, I think it was they would try to aim for 20 or 20 something. They would push higher into the Star Forces, but I couldn't find a
Yeah.
reason for why.
Yeah, it just gains a lot of stats, gets a lot stronger. So my tattoo and my monocle, for example, these are both 17.
Mm-hmm.
And so you see the all stat is plus 66, and then the weapon
Yep.
and magic attack is plus 21.
Holy cow. Okay.
So if you get that
Okay.
on all of the stuff, see, so the hat, see, you see plus 19, plus 21, plus 21, plus 19, plus 19,
I see. I see.
plus 19
Okay.
here. Yeah, if you add that, these are a little bit lower, so the belt, plus 19. So if you add all of that up together, it's basically like you're just equipping an extra weapon almost.
I see. Also too, I do have the Ventus badge right now, just strictly for like a filler, like extra
Mm-hmm.
damage, right? And like the set bonus. But is there anything else that I could push for? I know, like when Mysterious Path was gone, that was the badge that I aimed for because I could throw potential in there. But
Mm-hmm.
am I stuck with the Ventus badge?
Yeah, you're stuck with it, yeah.
Okay.
The only possible thing would be if you get the Monster Parker badge and you break the entire set otherwise, then that would be a possible upgrade, but that's the only possible thing.
Right. And what roles are important on the badge? That is it just raw stat?
Yeah, but even that one doesn't have potential. Like there's potential badges is completely out of the equation.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why I haven't mentioned it yet. I don't know if you have a heart right now.
Or
No.
Android.
There is a heart coming out this winter. It'll cost 2 bill, but it'll have the same potential tier as the one droid, so it'll have a possibility to get up to 30%.
Yeah, plenty of time. Right?
Yeah, that's just a matter of saving up before then. But it's possible that you get to the speed where you can already kill properly without it, and then you won't even have to move into it. You can just make money
Chill.
with your Kanna
Yeah.
so that you can buy it with the other characters that do want to get that min-max damage in.
Right. And that's, yeah, I don't know. I really want to get to that part of the game where I'm like, oh, cool. Got 10 bills saved up, and it's miracle time. I can commit to all these
you can
characters.
actually do something with the event now. Yeah.
Yes.
Not like the event
that's-
is tomorrow, and you have like 100 mil, and you're like, well, maybe I can get one tier up. Like,
Right. I want
Yeah.
to be able to farm and not have it be double drop, because I'm never going to find a map,
yeah, mm-hmm.
and that's just how it was in the prior, Kannas, and I just got tired of it.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. So they have that special cape. So what are you? So there's a few awkward slots like glove and shoe.
Yes, I got you there.
Yeah.
My shoe is not the greatest. It's the one from what is her name? It's one of the bosses, the female bosses, the super early game level 100. I
Hilla?
think. Yeah.
The necro boots.
Yep.
Necromancer?
Yep.
Yeah.
I just rolled like 5% all stat, or got a 5% all stat, and put it up to 11 stars because I wasn't able to do Magnus for Tyrant anything.
Mm-hmm.
And same for the gloves as well. But I was able to get like an epic potential, opening up 3 lines and like 9% int, which was great. But
Mm-hmm.
probably just a filler, to be honest.
What glove is that?
The Necromancer Magician gloves.
Okay.
Just like the boots.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've been looking to see if there's anything that I could change into that, but I think it's just Tyrant, right?
So yeah, for shoe, the next one would be either Nova and then Tyrant.
Mm-hmm.
With Nova being like a small stepping stone, but that's more like a solo progression shoe, not really anything you invest into. You don't really go for the potential, you don't Star Force it, it's just kind of like there because of the good base stats that it has. And then after that, it's just Abzo.
Okay. Now, absolute, like, is that a solo progression situation, or I just need to get the prequest out of the way and get a hand or two to help with that?
You need, especially if you're specifically aiming for being a farming character, you're gonna have no IED. You're gonna do jack all damage to Lotus and Damien. You're not, yeah.
Okay.
You'll have value, and you'll probably work on maxing your domain with your nodes because that's like very important to have higher uptime, and that's gonna increase your rates a lot. So having high domain and knowing when to bind, and putting down barriers and that kind of stuff is very useful as a support. But your self damage output, without having any of the ID and none of the boss damage anywhere, is going to be horrendous. So you will need other people to be able to put out the damage there for those.
Gotcha.
One thing you can do is when the Star Force events come around is to prep level 150 gear with high Star Force so that you can take advantage of the extra weapon, magic attack, extra stat past 15 stars and use those as your gear. So that when you do get into Abzo, you can just transfer hammer them over and you'll have like the gear. Basically, you'll have the costs already kind of spent without having the equips yet.
I see what you mean. So like for my Sweetwaters, get my Superior, and anything like in the 150 and above area, just kind of aim for it so that way it's prepped.
Well, so only 150, right? Because if it's higher, then you won't be able to transfer hammer it over. Has to be 10 levels lower than your target item, and your target item is 160, so it has to be 150.
I see.
So for shoes, so there's two ways you can go. You can use the drops from Madman Remaru, because those always come out as epic, so they have basically guaranteed epic. The downside is though that he drops equips for like 5 different classes. So if you do end up blowing it up, then you can be stuck with a trace that you can't really transfer hammer into something. So then you just have a trace sitting there and kind of, the 12-star going to waste. So what I usually advise is to go for the Ancient Root shoes and Ancient Root gloves.
Okay.
Have you heard of these before?
Those? No, first time.
So the shoes you can buy in the Rudibus shop. Just for the regular Rudibus coins, you can use like the green coins from normal or the blue coins from Chaos, and you can buy the shoes there, and they're level 150. They're like really bad by themselves, but because you can Star Force them past that, the extra bonus stats that you get from going past 15 make up for how horrible the base stats of the equip are. And then for the gloves, you can go to the black market that's in the Magnus Castle. If you did the prequests for Magnus and everything, the one map, basically the last map where you talk to that one NPC and then you can start queuing for Magnus. That's like the black market map, and then there's an NPC on that map that sells the gloves for both like the lower tier coins that drop from normal and easy Magnus, and then also for the higher tier coins that drop from hard Magnus. But typically you won't want to use the hard Magnus coins because you can also use those for other Tyrant equips. So if you don't have enough access to those coins, you want to make sure that you try to do normal Magnus as a daily in your rotation to get more coins. Yeah,
I think I have what is it called, the Shadow Dealer coins?
Yes,
I have like 121 right now. So that's been something I just enjoy doing. I just enjoy doing Magnus normal. Because I finally finished Prequest, but
I think you need I think it might be 150 per glove though, so definitely keep doing that.
Okay, so I'm right around the corner, which is good.
And I think it's only like 2 of the Magnus, the hard Magnus coins for a glove. Wow, I have 1,050 Magnus coins on this guy. Damn, that's a lot.
Worth.
That's some stonks. It's just sitting there. And I've got like almost 2 stacks of Shadow Dealer. I see. Yeah, I don't know the exact numbers, but yeah. So the benefit also of those equips is that you can have access to them at any time, so you don't have to have them stinking up your inventory in between when you're just waiting for events. You can just wait until the day of the event, just go buy one, and then just Star Force it up. If it doesn't blow up, that's fine. If it does blow up, just buy a new one, transfer the trace over. Have you worked with traces before?
No, the spell traces and such, I've been sort of NPCing them for currency, but...
Oh yeah, so this is item traces, so that's something different. So once you go past 12-star, your item can blow up. Right?
No, I didn't know that. No.
Oh, okay. So for example, if I try to Star Force, do you have anything that's... So I have these prepped, right? This is basically also what you're looking for, like these 15 stars level 150 gear.
Right.
And if there's like a 5, 10, 15, I'm gonna try push very hard, very far, and then if I get to the point I wanted to, I transfer hammer it into the Abzo, and then I never have to risk blowing up my Abzo gear. Because you need to kill a bunch of Lotus and Damien, you need to do the weeklies to be able to afford the coins. It's a whole hassle. It's also quite expensive, because the higher level the item, the more expensive the Star Forcing. But you do have to pay the 1-star cost when you transfer hammer, so you do have to go a bit higher on these equips. But since it's easier, and you have a longer period of time to get more backups, I like to kind of like front load the problem instead of back load the problem onto the Abzo. I like to get all of the problems and the possible booms and all of the, atrocious stuff that can happen in the front end, so that when I'm done, it could just go into the Abzo, and then the Abzo doesn't have to worry about everything. I can just flame it, cube it, and then it's
Yep.
done.
Okay.
But like
I
all of the
follow.
booming and all of the backups and all that stuff, I like to front load that problem onto just doing dailies.
I follow
So,
that.
so
Okay.
that's why you have I have like a bunch of these backups, right? These shoulders from Renmaru, the capes from Zakum, that kind of stuff. But it's like if you know that eventually you're gonna go run into Abzo, you can start doing that. But if you don't know if you have access to that yet, then yeah, it's just syncing up my inventory to the point where I almost have no space. So the
Gotcha.
more you can like use equips that don't need a lot of space in your inventory, the better. But yeah, so if you go past 12, you'll see like success chance, failure chance, but there's also a chance of item destruction if it fails. And then what you're left with, I don't think I have any traces here, but you'll basically keep the same item, but it'll be like completely transparent, and it'll be in your inventory, and you cannot like equip it, but it's just an item trace, and it'll keep everything of the equip. Like it'll keep the same potential, the same lines of potential. If it's a soul weapon, like it'll keep all of that, but the stars will go down to 12. And it's not usually not like a huge financial drain to get to 12 stars, but it usually takes a little bit of time to get up to 12. So if you have an item that has the exact same name, then by dragging the trace into this UI and then the exact same name, you can drag it next to it and you can transfer the trace stats back into the real item, and all of the items that you had all the stats that you have previously will be copied. So this is why people, when they try to aim for like very high stars for like 20 or 21 or 22, they were talking about before, they will have a bunch of backups, and then some people will already have it like flamed and cubed and everything, but there's no risk there because if you have a bunch of backups, well, you just get your trace, transfer the trace, and you just keep going like nothing ever happened. If you don't have backups, then you want to do the star forcing first, make sure that that's settled, and then get into all of the upgrading of the other stuff, of the potential of the flames later, because yeah, you don't know, because then all of that value is going to be stuck maybe forever until you get another one, right?
Yep. I follow that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Cool beans.
Yeah,
All right.
I do have a transfer hammer, and well, it also talks about transposing, but that's not going to be relevant for you. A video about all of that and why we do all of that, so maybe that'll help you clarify like a little bit more about the whole system.
Oh yeah, it will for sure. I mean,
Yeah,
um, I try to make, I try to use all my resources before I ever ask, and train myself to do that because of, it's just important for the person rather than asking a billion questions. It's just easier to have that information on hand to be able to access to, so that way you can eliminate that in someone
yeah,
else's time.
yeah. So the higher you go, I think it stays at 2.1 here, but like if you go higher and higher, the boom chance, I think past 20%. Past 20 stars, I think it goes up to 7% chance to boom, so it does get pretty significant the higher you go.
Roger that.
And then that's why people stop at 22, because past 22 it's basically impossible. From 22 to 23 there's only 3% chance of success.
Okay, so my current,
So it just stops.
besides the growth of the gears and such, my current in dailies and adding community and adding like Noah Magnus for the shadow coins, and saving all my meso for through farming and whatnot. When I get my current roles, my primary and my Haku weapon,
Yeah,
it's just leveling then, right? Just like farming, get the levels, do the daily for the arcane powers in
that's
I
going
forget
to
what they
be,
call the orbs, but
symbols, yeah, arcane symbols.
yep, I just do my arcane symbol dailies and just kind of, that'll just be the primary like grueling part right now because of no double XP. It's just the coupons.
Yep. And leveling
Okay.
leveling your nodes. Do you know which skills you're aiming for with your node, your boost nodes and everything?
I think so far I've only gotten I've been trying to look at I think there was like a GIF or a picture that I was able to find through your stream that had something with the main attack that Kanna uses and Kishin, those two specifically, and then there was the keen eyes, if I'm saying that one right. There's like the green little eye or whatever for extra like crit to max that out and get extra damage.
Oh, sharp eyes, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one thing, is getting crit ends up being pretty important. Kanna does rely on a lot of its damage through summons, and summons can't crit, so it's not as much of a priority for you, but eventually you do want to aim for 100% crit, yeah.
Gotcha.
But do you know about like skill nodes, boost nodes, that kind of stuff when it comes to the matrix?
Very little, very
Okay.
little. It's just kind of been, hit 200. I see
Mm-hmm.
them. I read very little, and I just equip whatever looks good or works.
Yeah. So when it comes to boost nodes, if you have like the correct setup, you'll have 4 boost nodes that have all of your 6 main attacking skills, each twice in like different boost nodes with a different configuration, which all 4 of the boost nodes having a different top skill line, so you can level them up with other boost nodes. And once you have all of that set up, you'll have plus 120% final damage if you have them all maxed on all of your skills. So they'll basically do 2.2 times the damage compared to now. And if you add that up with your arcane power, having 50% more than the requirement of the map, which in Arkanna most maps have a requirement of 360, so if you're plus 50%, so 540 arcane power or higher, then you'll deal another 50% final damage extra. So, but this is all like invisible damage, doesn't go into your range, right? Because it's all on-hit effects.
Right.
So that's why I was talking about like your gear is one thing, but like those 2 things like together, and since final damage is multiplicative and everything, that's basically like tripling your damage by having those 2 in place. So I mean, you probably won't get to this amount of arcane power anytime soon. This is quite a lot of work.
And doing the story to get the extra arcane and extra power and all that kind of fun.
Yeah, once you get to 235 though, you unlock all of the symbols, and then you can start growing arcane power pretty quickly.
Ooh, didn't know that.
Every single area you unlock the symbol in speeds up the dailies on the previous area. It allows you to so it allows you to auto-complete. So let's say the kill quests in Vanishing Journey. Yeah, you start off with 5, and then once you have this, no, not just with Maple Points, but just automatically. So Maple Points just auto-completes them, however many you can do. But let's say that you have Vanishing Journey and Choo Choo and Lachline all like the storyline unlocked, right? And you have the symbol. Right. Then you'll have a quest in you'll have 2 quests in Vanishing Journey and 1 quest in Choo Choo to speed up the dailies. So instead of doing Urda Spectrum, do you know about Urda Spectrum?
Nope, I am clueless.
So every area up to Arkanna has 2 dailies per day now instead of 1. So you can get like extra dailies every day, extra symbols every day.
Okay.
So Urda Spectrum is usually 3 runs per day for 2 coins each. And then the 5 kill quests, and then if you do all of them, you get 3 extra at the end for 8 in total, for like a total of 14 symbols. But let's say that you unlock Choo Choo, then you only have to do Urda Spectrum twice, and then you can auto-complete the last one. And you only have to do 4 kill quests, and then you just get 4 when you're done, basically. And then if you also unlock Lechaline, then you only have to do 1 Urda Spectrum, and you can auto-complete 2. You only have to do 3 kill quests, and then you basically get 5 at the end. And you only have to do the 3 of the Choo Choo kill quests instead of 4 for 4 extra symbols. You only have to do Hardmudo PQ twice to get your total 15 symbols. So it trickles down. The minimum amount you have to do any single daily always stays at least 1, but then you can auto-complete all the other ones. So the faster you push through the areas and complete the storylines and get to 235 for Esfera, the faster you speed up all these dailies and can get all of your dailies done in a shorter period of time.
Gotcha. It'll just speed up the FD part of just sort of getting that requirement out of the way for map clearing, and then
and there's a lot of stat here as well, right? There's 100 stat for every level of every symbol, and 300 stat for every new symbol as well.
Yeah.
And
I'm looking at your stream because I'm like, wow.
So this is 13k stat in just this, right? So this is like a pretty lofty goal, but the stat you're aiming for is about like this much, a little bit higher. But that's what I just have in the symbols already. But if you, this character is like weirdly funded. That's almost like half my stat is just the symbols, right? Because I'm at 29 with, And this is a final boost as well, right? So it's not multiplied by your percentages, which, of course, otherwise it'd be crazy.
Right.
So the other 16k is like all of my stuff combined, and then the arcane power is 13.
Gotcha. And then if you don't mind, I have one last question, which is honor. I'm finding myself very scarce, or maybe not resourceful enough to find ways to get more honor. So what would your advice be for you to get enough honor to just kind of save in the event where we get like an event for it's like, cut in half price on honor spending to get the right rolls?
So honor, the main source is just when you're training and you have drop rate, they will just drop from normal monsters. Elite monsters and elite champions will drop some. And then it's mainly just bossing. Bosses have a decent amount of drop rate. And then the extra ways that you can get is also through the Legion shop that we talked about. They also sell honor medals in the Legion shop. And event stores sometimes sell them.
Okay.
I think right now, for example, there's like a Mitra box for honor medals, and a Mitra box is basically like a repeat box you can open repeatedly. Like you can open it once a week for a certain period of time for a max amount of, I don't know, 7 times or something. And every time you open it, there's a certain amount of medals in there. So that's also a way that you can. As a value, the Mitra boxes always have like the best bang for your buck, but you do have to like keep coming back and keep opening it, right? So they do have the, keep coming back, don't miss out, They get you to keep coming back over and over. But if you look at the value that you get out of that compared to just like the regular purchases even in an event shop, it's always way more worth, yeah.
I follow. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't have any more questions.
Make sure that whenever we have patch notes, that you keep an eye out for the Sunny Sundays, because that will announce when the 30% offs are, the 5, 10, 15 events are, and then you can plan accordingly, like that you mark your calendar and are like, okay, on this day I need to upgrade these items to this star, this item to this star. And just with any of the items that you don't want to have to safeguard, it's just important to have some backups, in case bad comes to worse and you'd have to transfer the trace, that you have a backup, because the average cost does change a lot. And I don't know if you've like snooped through the commands in my channel at all, but there's like a bunch of you could go for cubing, and you can go for Star Force, for example. There are calculators that you can use to like roughly estimate like how much is it going to cost, so you can have some kind of an idea of how much do I need to save and to which extent is it important. Like let's say you have the CRA gear. And let's say you do star catching, right? Because that's very important. And you don't safeguard, and you're going from 12 to 15 during a 30% off event. Like it's like on average, it's going to cost you this much. And then you can roughly know. But then you can also see the range of booms. Average boom is very low. It's like a quarter of a chance, right? So range of boom is 0 to 4. That's not bad.
Yeah, that's still,
So you can see like, well, if I would safeguard, like what are the average costs? Like more than pretty much doubles to guarantee no boom. So this is one of the things that people look at. Well, when you're like meso farming and you want to basically propel your character forward, you just do that by throwing more money at safeguarding instead, and then you don't have to wait the extra weeks for the extra coupons and the tickets and the backups and the yada 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 and all the dailies and the weeklies. But you kind of just brute force your character through there.
Yep. Because you don't want any setbacks in that event where you need to replace a equip because of the coins and having to go buy it from a shop again or whatever.
Yeah.
Or drop.
So if you go from 15 to 17, let's say you do that off event, that's almost 800 mil, right? So that's where the expensive stuff comes in. But then here there's a decent chance to boom, right? There's like 1 in 3, and you're upgrading 3 equips, so there's a very good chance that one of the 3 blows up. So if you do it during a 5, 10, 15 event instead, the price goes down from 782 to 379, so less than 50%, and the chance of boom goes down to 0.09. So that's why these events, like 30% off, that I talked about from 12 to 15, if you do that, it's this cost. If you don't do that, like these are very big differences because you're multiplying them over many, many different equips, right? So that's where so that's where the advice comes from. If it's 10 equips, it's 4 bill, and now it's 2.6. So that you just earned 1.4 extra bill by just waiting for the event. So your money just becomes worth more by spending it at the right time. Is essentially what happens.
I see, and then your character becomes more valuable. At least the ones that that will bring in the most bacon, like your Arkannas.
Yeah, you get more bang for your buck, and then your character will be able to get to the point where you can start moving all the money to your other character faster as well.
Right, and then just repeating the process, trickle it down until you reach a point where you run out of character slots.
Yeah. So let's say your legendary.
It seemed like quite a long time, yeah.
Fafnir, you're trying to get 2-line percentage attack. So it says here that that on average it will cost about $1 bill. It says, to get your weapon to where you want.
Okay.
This is pretty cheap. But like the most unlucky person The luckiest person did it in 1 cube. The unluckiest person took 480 cubes out of 1,000, out of 100
That's
people.
super unlucky. Dear God, dude.
Yeah.
I feel bad for that guy. He's
It's
probably not playing Maple. Or maybe he is.
no.
Who knows? But
Yeah, you can
that's
look at the
just
outliers on like the really hard. If you're like going for 0 to 22 on like level 200 equips or something, you know, like not safeguarding, no star catching or something. Like the unluckiest person spends his 311 bill with 92 booms on their arcane gear.
Oh,
You know, and the
no,
luckiest
dude.
guy just got it in 2 bill with no booms. You know, so
That's a video and a half. That's, oh man. I wish there was a video on it if it existed.
but you see the average booms here, right? Is like 11 and 11.6, right? So this is completely undoable. So if you just click
Right.
this and you click this already, the average booms goes from 11.6 to 2.35. And you see the average cost
Ooh,
like
okay.
evens out way more as well.
Way more. Way more.
Yeah. See, and the worst booms is 22 instead of what was the last one?
Yeah. Okay.
a little bit worse. Yeah. So you can use these calculators to get like a general idea. Of course, there's no guarantees, but they're just simulations of just a bunch of tests. So
Possibilities.
yeah. So
just
always,
some
you know,
accuracy.
always aim for a little bit higher than the average cost. Like always, you can look at the percentiles as well, right? You can see 75% of the people got it between 1.4. So like if you aim for this, you're like very, very safe, basically. If you aim for the 85th percentile, then you're being extra careful. But you
Right.
can see
Okay.
that's already like kind of, that's almost double the average cost already, because the standard deviation, like how much, I don't know how much statistics background you have,
Yeah.
because you have a lot of instances of small percentages. Not knowing the average isn't really enough because the standard deviation is super wide, right?
Yes.
So it's
Okay.
easy to get very unlucky, and it's easy to also get very lucky. So you have to like keep yourself safe. But the more attempts you do, right, the bigger your sample size is, the closer you'll get to your average. So you'll have 1 equip or 2 equips that are super lucky, and then you'll also have 2 that are very unlucky. So you have to just not to get demoralized by by a horrible cubing or potential luck, cubing or Star Force luck, because as long as you get all of your equips done, on average you'll also have a few other ones that are very lucky, and it'll just roughly even out to the totals.
I see. Okay. Roger that. Yeah. I mean, that's golden. I mean, now I have a sense of direction completely different from the map that I had created.
Yeah, I think you had a lot of information just from a long time ago still, so it's good to update some of that.
Yes. Oh my God. When I saw familiars, I was like, I need to ask him about that for sure.
Yeah.
Because like I miss old familiar setup. Like I miss not having to worry about looking at the gauge. Now it's like
The
worse.
gauge, yeah.
You really got to pay attention.
And it's also the lines you get now are not locked to which familiar it is, but just through the tier of the potential that you reveal.
Oh my God.
So so if you specifically go for spiders, they could get the drop rate, but they could also get something completely different. So it all just matters. It's more of a quantity over quality thing now. You just have to reveal as many as possible to get any of the useful lines, basically.
Gotcha. And by reveal, you mean is there a function that allows me to reveal like the question mark of a familiar?
Yeah, exactly.
How do I do that?
So you go here into the UI, and then you go to setup. No, actually, you go into collection. Sorry, and then you click the familiar here, and then you see the question mark here. So if you click it there, it'll it'll take some money out of your wallet. You click OK, and then it reveals it. So now I increase party members' defense by a small amount and slightly increase speed and jump. Nice. So that's a keeper for sure. The end game familiar right here.
Oh yeah.
So if I don't like this, I can go to extraction and extract it, and it'll give me 15p, I guess. I don't know what the P stands
The
for.
currency or the familiar points.
So boop, and then he's gone. And now if I go into after the 10 seconds of lag when the game, okay, then I go into the shop, you'll see I have 15 familiar points right here. So then I can spend those on items.
Okay.
Yeah, so specific guides that I think are useful for you to look into, I would say to read back, and then if you still have follow-up questions, you can always ask in the chat or in Discord. I'm just going to throw them all in the chat. So specifically the familiar one, just to read back on it.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, for sure.
I would look at the flame guide just to get a better handle on like flame scores and stuff like that, because once we did all the things we kind of talked about, then it's going to be about making sure that the flames of everything are kind of at the point where you want them to be. And how to check where you want them to be, you can check the progression I don't know if you've seen this one, but basically this looks at, because you can't really go by your range anymore, right? Your range doesn't really tell you how strong you are.
Right.
But there's a
Yeah,
bunch
no,
of
it
other
doesn't.
stuff that tells you how strong you are. And then these are basically all the things that tell you how strong you really are. So these are the numbers that you want to aim for in the stages of the game to make sure that you're like on track to be able to kill the content around your level. And these are like
Oh, this is perfect.
the
Oh, yeah.
parameters
Okay.
that you're looking for. So you'll see like your arcane power, right? So this takes into account how hard are the maps. Am I doing my dailies temporarily enough? Like your nodes, your levels for your nodes, your flame score. So that gets explained in the flame calculator. Like how do you calculate a flame score? The purpose is basically to be able to compare how good a flame is on different items with each other. So you don't have to worry about what tier is this, what tier is that, but more like how much does this really add? Does it live up to the potential of the flame, or is it not good enough?
I see. Okay.
And then it'll also explain like non-flame advantage and flame advantage. Non-flame advantage is stuff like Sweetwater and like Gollux, right, where the flames are just really, really bad. They just inherently they inherently just get worse flames. And then advantage would be stuff like CRA, where the numbers are way higher, even though the equips are of the same level. So that's like another way that flames on items differ. So definitely look into that.
Will do. Absolutely.
Weapon flames.
Yeah.
So that's why we talked about the tiers for weapons, because the tiers are connected to a percentage of your base stats. So that's why when we looked at the calculator, I needed to know the base stats of your weapon. And
Okay.
whether it's flame advantage and what level it falls into, because that determines the percentage and that determines these numbers. So that's why I can't put those numbers in here, because it would be for every single type of weapon there'd be like a different number here, so it would be one giant clusterfuck. So we just aim for the tiers instead. Yeah.
Yep.
Star
Gotcha.
Force in general is a little bit, that's a little bit of a benchmark. It'll change depending on whether there's an event or not. You could be a little bit higher, a little bit lower than your goal. Right? If there's an event going on, you might end up a little bit on the higher end. If there hasn't been an event a while, you're probably saving up and you're on the lower end. But it's just like a general ballpark number to be at. These you can probably skip because for your farming character, but later for your mains you can also use this. And then in the bottom it'll tell you like what kind of content are you looking for doing at this point. And that'll also be connected to your dailies. And dailies will look at like where can you get drops that are useful for you, like equips and backup items and souls. How much money is the crystal worth? Does the boss give a lot of experience? Do they drop flames? That kind of stuff. And the second page looks at like at around which level. If you are like around the parameters that we showed in the progression tab, right? If you're around these progressions, then
I am for sure.
Then at these levels, these dailies are like worth considering, basically.
Okay. I would say I'm more in the mid area than anything because of the tier of the flames, I would say the flame score, which is also new to me.
It's old gear, so
range.
you're gonna be behind a little bit because it's just old gear. I think that's normal.
Yeah.
And I don't think 25
Yep.
stars were probably even out when you played, right?
Nope, they weren't. No.
Yeah,
no,
so that means
they
like
weren't.
going to like 15 stars or something wasn't even like reasonable because you wouldn't be able to go beyond. But now that you can go beyond, getting to 15 actually is way more reasonable.
Gotcha.
So
I follow that.
that's why all these parameters kind of like shifted upwards, of course. Yeah. Dailies, flames. Oh yeah, and then probably the transfer hammer video if you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I will definitely look into the video for sure.
I'll link that. Yeah, so like the some homework, but
No, this is nothing. This is a breeze. I kind of sink into all this kind of stuff, so it's very convenient that you're informing it.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go through your commands once again too, for sure. Just kind of scatter around each one because they're fun. Just to like, I didn't know this stuff existed.
Yeah, try to keep it like
really
internally connected with each other as well, like the stages of the game and what you're aiming for. Like, try to keep those internally connected so it makes sense that if you have the general line of progress in mind, that you know, like, oh, I'm at a different stage of the game now, and now I might have to look at something else. Like when you're doing the flame score calculator as well, you're basically looking at how good is this flame going to be once I reach the peak of the current stage of the game that I'm in. But it also means that if you're moving towards the next stage, then how your stats are going to compare to each other is going to be different, right? Your flame score, how good a flame is going to depend on how much of all the other stats you have. And if you're star forcing past 17, you're going to get way more weapon and magic attack, and therefore the weapon and the magic attack that you get on your flame, comparative to everything else, is going to have a lower value. But something that gives you more stat, because at the same time you're also going to be working on your potential, you're going to get way more percentage stat. So something that gives you more stat comparatively is going to have more value than your attack. Your attack is going to like reduce some of its value, but the stat is going to gain some of its value. So if you have like percentage all stat on your flames, that's going to scale better into the end game. Weapon and magic attack is going to scale a little bit lower into the end game.
I follow that. Okay, gotcha.
But it has to do with all of this, right? Like how with these numbers kind of like shift around, just how much you have in general access to, and just in general how everything is upgraded at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't want to give you like a few pieces of advice and then be like, well, just follow this. But then, because then once you've followed all of that, you're kind of going to be lost again. So I want to make sure to give you enough of the background as well, so you can understand where it's all coming from. And then hopefully once you get to that point, you'll be able to use that as a springboard to move yourself forward, instead of, having to be dependent on me again for advice again. I'd like to...
Right.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I mean, I've never had anybody to, I guess, get that communication across. I've been trying to get to the videos and peel what is key to where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's kind of been like more like of my, I can't say self-made at all really, but just sort of peeling together what I think is important and it really isn't. But
Mm-hmm.
also to just watching the streams and
Yep.
just looking at the sessions and what's important, look at the titles, and just kind of following what I see can be useful to the current part of the game that I'm at, or stage of the game that I'm at.
For sure, yeah. The sessions are very personal, and the guides that I do have, I try to just explain the concept and why it's important, and then hopefully, if it's explained properly, then anyone who's playing the game can look at the guide, and then after that be like, okay, so that means, for my situation, that then means that I have to do this and this and this, right? That last jump you gotta like make yourself, but hopefully you'll be able to do that easily if the guide is appropriate.
Right.
Appropriately
Gotcha.
made, yeah.
Gotcha.
What is
Roger
the
that.
second stage?
Roger that.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's it for me.
Yeah? You good?
Yeah.
You golden?
Oh yeah. More than golden.
Good.
Diamond, I guess.
Diamond, hey. Platinum? Platinum?
Yeah. But absolutely. I mean, this has been super informative, which is appreciative of, as always, Scar.
Yep.
But for sure, I'm going to apply as much as I can to it and just go back to enjoying the game. I want to get to the gambling part as soon as possible.
It is enjoyable.
I love that. It's so fun. It's so fun.
I get it.
I want to do it so bad.
Wait until you go like past 17 stars and you're trying to get to 21, and then the fun ends real quick.
Ooh. The booming begins.
Yeah. Once you start transferring your traces, and yeah. I mean, it's part of the process.
Yeah, it is, right? Oh man, backtracking can be a part of the process, right? That's about goal. Yeah, true.
All right, but best of luck with the Kanna, and then hopefully you can get it up and running in no time and provide all your other characters with ample resources.
Will do. I mean, I got a lot more energy than I did yesterday or prior to this talk for sure. So I'm going to be putting more time into those levels and get straight to those dailies and do what I got to do.
All right.
Appreciate it, Scar.
Yep, no problem. Keep having fun.
Will do.
Okay.
Happy
See ya.
making.
Yep. Thank you.